Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Folks, let me tell you, I have not been this excited to talk about a movie since Spider Man No Way Home. In fact, this is easily the biggest movie since No Way Home. And you all know what it is, but I'm going to tell you anyway. As Frank Miller's All Star Batman and Robin would say, today we are talking about the goddamn Batman. Or for simplicity's sake, the Batman. Alright. That was such a stupid joke. Anywho, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. Yes, there are cons, although they are very, very minor, but they're still worth pointing out. So, yeah, let's get to it. Pros. Obviously, movie's called The Batman. It's about Batman. Do I need to explain who Batman is to anyone at this point? You know what? I will, but I'll give you like a very quick Cliff Notes version of his history. So, Batman's been around for a long, long, long time. Since the 30s, I think. Last I checked. And he's had many comics, obviously, but not just comics. He's had movies, he's had games, he's had TV shows, right? He is, like, when it comes to DC characters, he's right up there with Superman. Although Superman's been around a bit longer and is, I guess, the more stereotypical hero, Batman has had more success than Superman in many areas, especially in the video game department. I mean, for Batman, you got the Arkham games. What does Superman have? Superman 64? Yeah, that's what I thought. Obviously, also the TV shows with the original Batman, the animated series, being an absolute classic of Batman Beyond. And there's an underrated animated show from Batman called The Batman. Funny enough, it's pretty underseen. No one really talks about it all that much. And also Batman the Brave and the Bold, which people know a little more about. But we're not talking about any of those. We're talking about the movie side of things. And Batman has quite a history there as well. I mean, from all the live action Batman we've had, from Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and now Robert Pattinson. Batman's had a long history of success. I mean, first Batman movie with Tim Burton, big old hit. Second one was also a big hit, but it made a lot less than the first. So they replaced Tim Burton with Joel Schumacher, and you got Batman Forever, which did better, but was not nowhere near as good. And the less said about Batman Robin, the better. Then 8 years later, Christopher Nolan came on, and he gave us the Dark Knight trilogy, with Batman Begins doing pretty decent, then The Dark Knight being a monster success, and then Dark Knight Rises also being a monster success. Then after that, there was no live action solo Batman movie for a long time. The most we got was Batman and Batman v Superman and Justice League, and that's about it. I mean, I could count the Lego Batman movie, but that's more of a Lego movie than a official Batman movie, so I'm not gonna count it. But yeah, overall, Batman, when it comes to his track record in movies, it's filled with quite a lot of highs. There have definitely been lows, the Schumacher movies, but overall, Batman's reputation on the big screen, quite good, I would say. So that's the immediate pro right there. Very easy pro. Batman, brand name recognition. So that's pro number one. All right. Batman as a character in the movie world, he's done great for the most part. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, as I've already said, this is the biggest movie since Spider Man No Way Home. And that's for good reason, because since Spider Man No Way Home, it's been pretty damn depressing. I mean, we've had some hits here and there. We had Scream 5, you had Uncharted, even Jackass Forever to an extent, and in Sing 2 as well. But besides those, it's been awful. Just bomb after bomb after bomb. I mean, it's been a rough time. And yeah, so obviously this movie was going to benefit greatly from the lackluster selection we've gotten the last few months. So yeah, this plus this is the first movie since Spider-Man to have an event status to it, and for obvious reasons. After all, it's Batman, right? First live action solo Batman movie since Dark Knight Rises, and that was a decade ago. So yeah, of course, it was going to benefit from the lackluster offerings we've been getting the last few months. So that's another easy pro. This movie has a real event status to it, unlike many of the movies that have come out past few months. So that's pro number two. Pro number three, this is the first Warner Brothers movie since Tenet, yeah, Tenet, to not have the HBO Max treatment. That is no more. The last one they did was Matrix Revolutions. We all know what happened to that. And pretty much all the other HBO Max Warner Brothers movies. Because that whole experiment was, for the most part, a complete disaster. This doesn't have to deal with any of that nonsense. Although this movie will be on HBO Max in like 45 or 46 days from now. But by that point, the Batman will be old news, so it won't do much harm to its bottom line. But yeah, this not having an HBO Max component, just being theatrical only, will help it so much and will only increase its event status. So yeah, not having HBO Max attached to its opening, easy pro, very easy pro. So that's pro number three, being the first non HBO Max Warner Brothers movie in quite a long time. So yeah, that's pro number three. Pro number four, competition. What competition? It doesn't exist. It's not there. I mean, Uncharted's been out for like a few weeks, but that's guaranteed to get crushed by this. Every other movie is just so old and irrelevant that they just like, what's the point of even talking about any of them? I mean, even Spider-Man No Way Home, that's been out for like close to 3 months now. That's very much old news, and everything else has just been a disappointment. Well, except Dog did okay, but besides like a few select movies like Uncharted, Dog, and Jackass Forever and Spider-Man, none. It's been pretty darn depressing. So when it comes to competition this weekend, there's none. But in the future, there won't be any direct competition for this movie until Morbius comes out April 1st. But that's like a month from now. So the Batman will be fine. It will be fine. So, yeah, no competition for a while. Another pro. So that's pro number four. Pro number five, reviews for this movie are quite strong. They're like, last I checked, like 85%. Definitely on the higher end for Batman. Not the highest a Batman movie has gone. I believe that honor goes to The Dark Knight, as it should. But yeah, it's still very strong reviews, and those reviews will no doubt, convince people to watch the movie, to give it a chance, right? And from what I've seen, audience score is very, very strong as well. So yeah, good word of mouth, good reviews, easy pro. So that's pro number five. Pro number six, this being the first new Batman we've gotten, after, Batfleck. And fun fact, this movie was supposed to be about Batfleck. That was the intention. But then Ben Affleck pulled out of it. The whole thing fell apart, and then it was reconstructed to not be involved with the DCU. So yeah, Matt Reeves come on in, and then a whole new cast for these particular characters. So instead of Ben Affleck, you got Robert Pattinson, who has tried very, very hard to escape the reputation from the Twilight movies where he was a sparkling vampire. He's tried very hard to move away from that, which I commend him for. And obviously, with a new, actor being Batman, it's going to get a lot of attention. And not to mention all the other characters in this movie. I mean, you got a new Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz as Zelina Kyle. You got Paul Dano as the Riddler. You got Colin Farrell, and a very unrecognizable Colin Farrell as the Penguin. And some of these characters haven't been in a movie in a long time, at least when it comes to live action. So seeing these characters come back, especially, obviously the draw of this movie are the characters and the world of Gotham. It's not really the actors, it's more the characters they're playing. So, yeah, seeing these characters, new versions of these characters is obviously going to get a lot of intrigue, a lot of interest. So, yeah, I consider that a pro right there, New cast, different Batman, rebooted Batman, a different take on Batman. It's going to get a lot of interest. So that's pro number 6. Pro number 7. Ads for this movie have been all over the place because it's Warner Brothers. They like doing that. Pretty sure you've been bombarded with Batman ads for like the past month on YouTube. I know I have. I've been bombarded with them. So it's obvious they're pushing this movie very, very, very hard because why wouldn't they? It's Batman. So, yeah, strong strong advertisements, pushing the movie very hard. The views for the trailers are pretty decent. I mean, I think the first official trailer, not the fandom trailer from like 2020, because that's when the movie only like 25% of it was shot at that point. But the second one, which was released like last October, that's when the movie was finally filmed in its entirety. Yeah, I think that trailer got pretty good views. Let me check. I think it was in the 40 million range. Yes, 43 million views. And the fandom teaser got 37 million views. So if that doesn't tell you that there's interest in this movie, I don't know what does. So yeah, high views for trailers, a lot of ads. Another pro right there. Another pro I can think of. I can't think of. I think that's it with all like the major pros that I mentioned. So, yeah. I think that's it for pros. Okay, cons. There's only one real con here that I don't even think it's going to affect this movie at all. Well, wait, another pro. I just remembered. It's Thursday preview numbers just came out. And they are quite good. Easily the biggest since Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man, that was like 50 million. So I didn't expect that for the Batman. But you see this number, 21.6. That's what they're saying is the preview number. But it's a tad misleading because it's actually, I think, 2 days worth of previews. Like, includes the Tuesday night special IMAX showing for the movie. That accounted for about $4 million. So it's really 17.6 million from the actual Thursday debut, which is still quite strong. So obviously that's it. That's a big old pro right there. It's making money already. And the Friday numbers haven't even come in yet. This is just Thursday previews. This is just preview numbers. So yeah, another pro right there. So yeah. Okay, cons. These are very minor, but they're worth pointing out. When it comes to DC movies, things have not been too great recently. I mean, the last real big hit for a DC movie has been Joker in 2019. After that Oof. I mean, Birds of Prey underperformed pretty badly, but Birds of Prey, as much crap as that movie got when it came out, its box office, like, it looks like a blockbuster in comparison to the next two movies that came out after it. And of course, I'm talking about Wonder Woman 1984 and The Suicide Squad. Now, obviously, with Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, both were negatively affected by the HBO Max experiment because they were part of it. Wonder Woman started the whole thing. And Wonder Woman 1984 was especially screwed because when it came out, nobody was going to the theater. And like half the theaters in the country, more than half of the theaters in the country were closed. It was very bad. There was no chance of success for that movie. And surprise, surprise, it didn't do that great. It did pretty awful, at least when it comes to its box office. Suicide Squad came out a relatively better time, but it still was very iffy. And that didn't do much better than Wonder Woman 1984. They did about the same. In fact, let me look it up. I guess superhero would be the best thing to look up. Da, 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 da. Okay, 2020. Where is Wonder Woman? Okay, Wonder Woman 1984. Here it is. Yeah, 46 million, 166 million total. Oof. That's terrible for a movie that costs like $200 million. And if it came out when it was supposed to, which was June 5th, and didn't have COVID to deal with, it it would have no doubt been made at least a billion or close to a billion. Maybe not, because the movie ended up being trash, so I don't know. And then you got The Suicide Squad, which I will find. Here it is. Which did not do any better, which is a real tragedy because this movie is phenomenal. It deserved better, and it's depressing. It really is depressing. But yeah, obviously those two movies had to deal with a lot of just release and not the greatest time for cinema. This here is in a much, much, much better position than the other two because one, no HBO Max. Two, people are actually going to the movies again. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home showed that if you release a movie that everyone wants to see, people will watch it in droves. Happened with Spider-Man, it will no doubt happen with Batman too. So, yeah. Um so yeah, but just want to mention that. But I don't think it will affect this movie at all, but it's still something to note. So that's a minor con. Another minor con is the runtime for this movie. This movie is 3 hours. A hard 3 hours. I can say that because I've seen the movie. I saw it last night. um and it certainly moves faster than your average 3 hour movie. But yeah, there's a lot to this movie that I'm not gonna say because I don't want to spoil anything. Because I'm not a scumbag. So yeah, so that runtime might be a bit of some would argue is a bit of a detriment because with a longer movie means less show times, which means less potential revenue. But that didn't stop Avengers Endgame, which was like a few minutes longer than this. So if it didn't stop Endgame, why would it stop this, right? So yeah, that's just something to note that could be a minor con for some people, but for me, I don't think it will be. I don't think it won't do too much damage. And besides, it'll probably take up a bunch of screens anyway because of demand. So it won't even matter really. Oh, I didn't even mention the theater count for this movie. I think it's one of the biggest theater counts in movie history. Let me look it up real quick. There was like a little article here. Yeah, 4,417 locations. It's the 13th widest of all time. It's not officially on here, but yeah, 14 wise of all time. The only ones that have done better. I mean, look at this: Lion King 2019, Endgame, Far From Home, Toy Story 4. A lot of 2019 movies. Some, yeah, all these movies being massive, massive, massive hits for the most part. And hell, that's more theaters than No Way Home. So that should tell you a lot about how Warner Brothers feels about the Batman. So yeah, I wanted to mention that. And yeah, I think that's it now. So opening weekend. Well, these preview numbers make my prediction a little easier. But I guess we have to compare it to other Batman movies. I mean, it's only fair. So I gotta ignore all the animated Batman movies because there is on a never-ending amount of them, and I've seen quite a few. Some are good, some are awful. Looking at you, Killing Joke. But I guess one could argue a decent comparison would be Batman Begins because this was also a reboot to Batman that took it in a more darker, real world uh, perspective, which I guess is fair. But that movie only opened with like 48 million and made like 205 million domestic, which is still really good. But compared to like the Batman movies that came out after it, like Dark Knight Rises, it's just look at it. It's it's low key laughable. Now comparing it to the Dark Knight movies here is not fair because those were sequels, and this is not. I can't compare it to Batman v Superman either because that's just, why would I even do that? But there is one movie I can compare this movie to. That would be a decent enough comparison. Uh, and that's another reboot of a classic DC character, a character I've already mentioned in this video, Superman, Man of Steel. I think is comparable enough because it was also a reboot. And that opened with $116 million back in 2013, made close to 300 million domestic, well over 600 million worldwide. I think the Batman will open a bit higher than Man of Steel thanks to its stronger preview number. So I'm gonna guess between you know what? I'm gonna guess between 130 and 140. That's what I'm going with for the Batman. Because you gotta remember, superhero movies they can be front loaded, even the good ones. Spider-Man: No Way Home's opening weekend was very front loaded. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. 130 to 140 opening weekend for the Batman, and total 350 to 400, I guess. It might do better than that. It might do worse. I don't know, but that's what I'm going with. So it will no doubt be the first mega hit of 2022. I mean, Uncharted did good, but the Batman will do much, much better than that. And I don't know how long it will hold on to that opening weekend. It could be beaten by Doctor Strange 2. It could be beaten by Jurassic World Dominion. It could be beaten by Thor Love and Thunder. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But the Batman it will no doubt be a hit. That is a guarantee. And that is it. That is it for the Batman. Now, we'll look at everything else. Next week, I do nothing. There's nothing coming out. All because Disney decided to yeet Turning Red. They yeeted it to Disney Plus. I mean, they could have done the Disney Plus Premier Access thing where they released it in theaters and Disney Plus to make some money, but I guess they thought it wasn't worth it, which I think is dumb and was only going to piss off the Pixar artists, but whatever. So I won't be doing predictions again until the 18th, where apparently I have a couple movies to do. I got Alma here. I got the Unbreakable Boy, apparently. I think X will be wide. And I think there's an anime movie that's opening wide too. So I'll probably have to cover that. That won't be till like 2 weeks, so stay tuned for those. And then the week after that, I do The Lost City. And I think everything, everywhere, all at once. But again, I'm not too sure. We'll wait and see. But yeah, those are like in the near future. So stay tuned for those. But yeah, anywho, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out my other prediction videos I've done on the channel. I mean, if you want the ones that I've done this year, just go on the homepage. Still not a lot, but it's the numbers are improving. There's gonna be definitely more prediction videos coming out once we get into April. Then it'll start getting really consistent. So yeah, you can watch those. If you want to watch any other prediction videos I made the past few years, just go to the playlist tab and you'll find them with ease. So if you want to do that, go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I've covered the Batman a few times because this was supposed to come out like in June of 2021. Then it got pushed back to like October and then March where it's out now. And then very recently, I talked about the whole thing with Russia and Ukraine, how the Batman and several big movies have are going to be releasing in Russia, at least not right now, because of that whole crisis. So if you want to watch that video, that's the most recent one, part 111. Yeah, was it 100? Yeah, 111. Want to watch that or any others where I talked about the Batman? Go right ahead. I forgot what numbers they were because it's been a while since I've talked about the Batman anyway. Oh, I think I also talked about it when it got like the 46 days ago to HBO Max. Talked about it there too. That was part like 99, so yeah, you can watch that too. But if you want to watch any of the other canceled episodes, go right ahead. Watch them all in order. It's quite a lot. There's like 111 episodes now. Paints a very interesting picture of what the last 2 years have been like. So go watch those. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. February recap will come out probably Monday, I think. Yeah, Monday. So right after the Batman's opening weekend is over. So stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I've made, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. That's it. I am out. Goodbye.